Greetings everybody, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to the landscape. I apologise for the background noise. There is actually a set of falls over there behind you, which is where a lot of the noise is coming from. A few years ago I did a video about long lens landscapes, and I did publish it, but I was always a little bit dissatisfied with it because the focal lengths that I was using weren't exactly very long. They were longish, but they weren't long. Whereas today, I am very much using long focal lengths. So I'm at a quarry, and I was just sat here having a cereal bar and a drink, just chilling out, and I started to notice the rock textures that were over the other side of the quarry wall. And you know, in addition to textures, there's colour, there's rain streaks, there's, I think, some minerals that are leaching out of the rock. Just thought, oh wow, that is fantastic. I wonder if I could try and capture it in camera. And what I've ended up doing is using a 70 to 200 lens with a 1.4 behind it. So that's, well, as near as makes no odds, 300 mil, was it about 280, something like that. So that's pretty long, and a lot longer than the focal lengths that I was using previously. Also, because the sun is out here, I can use the long sunshade and be very confident that the sun isn't striking the front of the lens. So I'm in complete control of the situation. I'm just taking a look just to check that, and yeah, that is indeed the case. Now I'm going to try and show you the scene on the back of the camera because I had to make quite a key decision here, which is why the camera is at quite an oblique angle. And I'm going to show you why I chose to do that in a moment. But I just wanted to talk very quickly about techniques to maximize your chances using a long lens. And I mean, principally there's one, maybe two, but let me move the video camera to the back of here, and I'll try and show you what's going on. Hopefully you can see that. Conveniently, I have an umbrella. Not quite sure why I brought an umbrella with me today, but because the forecast was bright sunshine. But anyway, I've got an umbrella, and that's had the fortunate side benefit of me being able to shield everything and show you what's going on. So there's my composition. I'm just going to brighten it up so it's a bit more obvious. It's all centered on the rock face and the colors and the textures and the streaks. And if I just reorientate the camera, let's just put it back to that normal view for a moment. Just lock that off. So the camera is on a tripod collar, and I can unlock the collar and then rotate the camera on the barrel of the lens, which also is quite convenient. And it's something that I would recommend for using long lenses. Certainly if you have a lens that's got it, or even got it as an option, have the lens mounted on the collar with the camera behind it, because you will find the whole setup would be so much more stable. And if I just zoom in a minute, hopefully you can see there, and the wind has just picked up. And even with the wind blowing, that picture is pretty steady. If I just touch the camera, you see how that movement translates. I mean, I know it's zoomed in 10 times, but even so. So, you know, there is going to be movement there. So having this setup as stable as possible is very important. But with the camera orientated straight and looking at the rock face, I mean, it's okay, you've got diagonal lines going through the scene, but it's not exactly a dynamic scene. And if it was a dynamic scene, then I'd probably welcome some diagonals, because diagonals add to, you know, energy and power. But this isn't an energetic scene. It's a quiet scene of natural decay. So it kind of doesn't feel right to have those strong diagonals. Certainly this one here going through the center of the frame. So the decision I made was to be unconventional, release the tripod collar and actually orientate the camera so that the viewfinder was more or less straight with the fracture lines that are in the scene. And as soon as I did that, it felt more natural somehow. Now, having done that and locked it off, I still need to sort of play with the composition and actually make sure that, you know, stuff is as it should be. Generally with pictures like this, you just take care of the corners, everything else will take care of itself. So I've got an item in this corner, an item in that corner, there's a line coming down from that corner, and that corner has got some shingle in it. So you've kind of got that progression from you know, rock, minerals, streaks, to then what happens. You know, eventually it all fractures and it becomes, you know, fragments of rock down below. And I think that better represents what's going on. Also, because I'm up high looking down, that's emphasized that quality. Sorry, the camera keeps shutting down. Perhaps more so than if the camera was orientated normally, if that makes any sense at all. Now, focus is manual, as you've already seen. So I'm just going to check focus like so. Something like that should do, that's fine. And I've basically plonked focus more or less bang in the middle of the frame. It's not quite in the middle of the frame, is it? Let's put it in the middle of the frame. There we go, and check it again. It probably won't be a million miles away. There we go, that'll do it. And I'm using an aperture of f8. Now there's probably quite a bit of height difference there. So let's crank it up a bit. And cranking it up a bit has made quite a significant difference to the shutter speed. It's now 1/8 of a second. So using an exceptionally long lens means that if there's any movement in the camera, it's going to be amplified by the fact that, you know, it's like using a pair of high power binoculars. You know, any movement is going to be very, very noticeable. Now there is a little bit of a breeze, so I'm actually just going to wait for that breeze to settle ever so slightly. I'm watching the grasses in front of me just to make sure that, there it goes. And then I'll review it on the back of the camera. Wait for it to finish right into the card. I have got some highlights actually, you can just see them on the top of the frame, but I know there's enough latitude in the sensor for me to be able to control that. Now, it's a choice, right, to do this kind of thing, but there's no way I could get to the bottom of the quarry to go and capture a scene like that. So being able to use this is my only choice, to be able to, you know, make the choice to use a longer lens. I would encourage any body that's out in the landscape to have at least a capability for a long lens. I mean, this is a Canon 70-200 f4, not the f2.8, it's an f4 with a matched 1.4 converter behind it. Relatively lightweight, but plenty of reach. And as you've seen here, I'm in a situation where, in fact, I actually need that reach. I do have a 100-400 lens as well, but that's quite a weighty piece of kit. But then again, I have been in situations where having that 400mm reach has actually been incredibly useful. So I think that, you know, the couple of things to recognize and realize are, when you're using a long lens, you do need to keep the thing still and steady. I've also found either a self timer or some kind of remote release or cable release to be very useful, because you're hands off the camera completely. And yeah, good sturdy tripod as well, unless you've got really, really good stabilization. This inner rail that I've got here is absolutely, the legs on it are enormous, so it's incredibly sturdy. And for this kind of photography, it's absolutely crucial to have something that's really, really sturdy. So for this video, I'm going to leave it here. I am actually going to have a poke around and see what else I can find in terms of long lens opportunities. And if I do find any, I will stick them on at the end of this video. Until we're next back out in the landscape, thank you very much for watching. Please do like, comment and subscribe. If you've got any other suggestions, tips and hints with regard to using long lenses out in the landscape, please stick them in the comments below. And until we meet again, please stay well, stay safe, and I shall see you on the next one. Take care. Bye for now.